Yeah,
Not
oh, I
sure.
told them they didn't have to.
Oh, they didn't have to, but they did. What, the judges didn't have
Are we okay electronically to begin? We're okay, Allison? Okay, good evening. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Powhatan Planning Commission, April 6, 2021. In addition to participating in person, members of the public may participate remotely by electronic means by joining a webinar via Zoom. During the public comment period, participants joining on Zoom may raise their hands using the Zoom controls on the computer screen, or if dialing in by pressing *9 on your phone. So now, Mr. Hall, our Vice Chair, will lead us in invocation.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance and direction in our collective efforts to be good stewards of the public trust, make fair and wise decisions, and to keep Powhatan a wonderful place to live and work. We ask these in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, on the agenda for tonight, do I have any requests to postpone action or amend the agenda? Anything for this evening? Okay. Then moving on to administrative items, the minutes from our last meeting, March 2nd, 2021. That was a regular meeting and a workshop. Are there any requested changes to the minutes as presented in the packet? Ms. Dr. Brown, she's eagle-eyed.
Well, it's just on page 5. We talked about, it's under the workshop, and we talked about the commercial nodes. Planning Commission decided to remove the commercial node located at the intersection of Page Road and US 60 near the county line. I think we should state what it went to. It's just a thought.
Okay, well, didn't it stay the same land use, but they just had an overlay of a node on it?
Okay, so
So
that.
I don't think but good catch. Barbara's so good at her.
Well, I said, wait a minute, I don't know, we removed.
Right, I know what you're saying, like we left it as a whole with
Yeah,
nothing
okay.
denoted there.
We could say that, the underlying land use designations remain the same, just to,
Make it clear.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea. Let's do that. All right, are there any other changes? Or, okay, can I have a motion and a second approving the minutes?
I move we accept the minutes of March 2nd, 2021. Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Moving ahead to our first public comment period. The general public comment period is now open. If anyone would like to comment on planning-related matters that are not scheduled for a public hearing later in the meeting, you may comment now. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Those participating, as I said earlier, electronically may raise your hand using the Zoom controls on your computer or press *9 on your phone. Let's start first with anyone present here this evening that would like to comment. Please come forward. Okay, is there anyone at home remotely that would like to comment? Please raise your hand. Let us know. No? All right, that being the case, I will close the public comment period. Moving on, old business, there is none this evening. So now we're back to a public hearing. We have 3 cases tonight. We'll take one at a time, if that's amenable to everyone, and do the public comment, our discussion, and our vote. Is that good? Andrew, do you want to introduce the first case, or should I just read the overview?
Yeah, I can give a introduction to that case. So
Okay,
the first rezoning for the night is case number 21-02-REZ. Michael Woody is requesting the rezoning of tax map parcel 43-25A from General Commercial C to Commerce Center CC. The property is located within District 1 in the far eastern part of the county at the intersection of US Route 60, Anderson Highway, and Douthit Court. And the address is 1701 Douthit Court within the County Line Commercial Park. This request is being made to allow a contractor's office on the subject property. Right now, within the General Commercial C zoning district, contractor's office is a conditional use permit. instead of requesting a conditional use permit, the applicant is requesting that the property be zoned a commerce center, which allows contractors, office by right, as well as a variety of other commercial uses. Again, the subject property is located in the eastern part of the county. The 2019 Long Range Comprehensive Plan designates the property as Commerce Center, and it's located within one of the three growth areas within Powhatan County, the US Route 60 Corridor East Special Area Plan. The applicant doesn't have a presentation plan, but their representative is here to answer any questions you all may have. We've not received any public comments regarding this particular case.
Okay, so let's open the public comment period regarding case 21-02. Would anyone present tonight like to come forward and comment? Seeing that no one has come forward, is there anyone remotely that has raised their hand or noted they'd like to comment? Okay, being that the case, I will close the public comment period and I'll open it for discussion with the Planning Commission. Which end do you want to start on tonight? Anyone thoughts, comments?
I do have a question. I appreciate that they gave us a nice description of when people would be coming and going from their offices. And I just want to clarify that these, I guess it's exterior siding. She can talk to this.
Yes, ma'am. We do siding, roofing, and decking.
So that takes a lot of material. Will all of it be in a warehouse?
Yes, there's a warehouse existing. That's why we're looking to purchase the property, is to be able to store our stuff inside.
Okay, all right.
And
Any
really, we provide per job. So most of our deliveries are straight to the job site that we're working at. This is to be able to store excess material, stuff that we use daily, so that it's easier for us to deliver to our jobs if necessary. But the bulk of our job materials are delivered per site.
Okay. And where you're storing them, if I remember the property, it's behind the property to the side?
It's actually right behind the house,
yeah,
like the
okay.
brick house is, and then it has a breezeway to the warehouse portion
Okay.
of it.
All right. As people come in, how much parking is there associated?
There is a small side parking where handicap is available. And then there's actually a lot of pavement on the back and gravel on the side.
Okay.
So there's not many of us in the office consistently. So we'll probably park in the paved area, but our business trucks, they don't take them home. So they'll be parked in the gravel.
That's what I was going to ask. How many business trucks do you
We have 10.
10.
Some stay, some go, like some are take homes, but we
Oh,
have
okay.
about 5 or 6 that stay on site and they pick up every morning.
Okay. Other questions for the applicant tonight?
Yes, there will be a showroom portion. I don't know where yet, if it'll be in the house or there's a breezeway office where our salesperson will be. There will be a showroom for visitors to come. 90% of our work is new construction, so they wouldn't need to come to us. Only about 10% is remodel. And now with everything online, they kind of pick what they want online. It's very rare for them to come in.
When I've done a renovation, I picked online, so. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Okay. All right.
Anyone else? Comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the zone change.
Second,
I think we have to do a roll call vote if I'm correct.
That's correct. So we'll start with District 2, Ms. Kingery,
Aye.
Mr. Hall. Aye. Ms. Pendergast,
Aye.
Dr. Brown,
aye.
Ms. Hurt.
Aye. So motion moves 5-0. All right, moving to our second public hearing tonight. Would you like to give us an overview of that one?
Yes, ma'am. So
Thank you.
case number 21-03-REZ is the second public hearing for the night. That is a request by Other Side LLC to rezone tax map parcel number 53-110, which is located at 2301 Genito Road, from Commerce Center CC to Rural Residential 5, RR5. That particular property is located in the far southeastern portion of the county, adjacent to the Genito West subdivision and near the intersection of Dorset Road and Genito Road. There is an existing single-family dwelling on the property, which the applicant would like to sell for residential uses. Again, it's an existing building that was historically used as a dwelling. Within the Commerce Center CC zoning district, residential uses aren't allowed. So the property owner is looking to rezone to the RR5 zoning district, which allows 1 unit per 5 acres. And this particular lot has 1 dwelling on 7.5 acres. This is located within District 2. The 2019 Long Range Comprehensive Plan designates the subject property as rural residential. So staff is recommending approval of this request because the proposed zoning aligns with recommendations in the comprehensive plan and is consistent with surrounding properties and uses in that area.
I have some questions.
Okay, we got to open for public comment first. Okay, so let me open the public comment period. Is there anyone present that would like to speak? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Jamie Wood, 3825 Little Fighting Creek Road. I represent the Other Side LLC as their broker and agent, and I can answer any questions you have.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wait a minute, we need to ask if there's anybody remotely that has a question before we let the applicant answer our questions, correct? Is there anyone remotely? Okay, well, that's very efficient. Just stay there and
Okay, I have a question. This is, who is Mr. Musselman?
Mr. Musselman is one of the owners of the Other Side LLC, and I'm representing him as his broker and real estate agent.
Okay,
We
So-
we currently have had the property on the market and marketed as commercial for Commerce Center and got very little activity on it. And majority of the interest that we've got has been folks that want to have it as a dwelling, a single family dwelling. And personally, I used to live in the Genito West subdivision, so I think the property would conform to a residential use on that corner. It also has old horse stables on the property, a big field in the back. So we feel that someone will want to buy it and renovate it. It's actually the old train depot from many, many years ago. Very nice historic home.
wow. I
Yeah, and
know.
it'll look very nice when
It's
it's fixed up.
great.
It really
I
will.
saw it. I did too. I thought it was really cute.
Other Side LLC is a landscaping business, as I understand from looking on Facebook.
No, ma'am. So
No?
Mr. Musselman owns Everything Green, which is a landscaping company.
Okay.
And the Other Side LLC is an LLC that he's had for some time that has held real estate, mainly residential real estate.
Okay. All right, earthstoneandwater.com is also a landscaping.
Correct. That was formerly Mr. Musselman's company as well. And he has grouped them together now, and he's gone back to the name Everything Green, I believe.
Okay. Here's my concern.
Mhm.
Where does his Everything Green equipment reside?
That's actually at his shop around the corner on Genito Road that is across from Garland's, the big horse barn property. So his shop is separate from this particular property we're talking about.
So there is no intention to move any of that equipment out of the shop to then be on the residential property.
No intent whatsoever. His intent is to sell this property that we're discussing tonight.
Okay,
And it's currently on the market and has been on the market commercially, and we've now since switched it over to residential, subject to the rezoning request.
okay. All right, well, that clears it up for me. If we do this, the value of the property drops by $25,000.
Mhm.
So there is a consequence to the county. And my concern was that if if this was owned by Mr. Musselman and he was trying to use it as a home, was he also going to use it as a business? And what you're saying to me is, no, he's trying to sell this property. He's a current owner.
Correct.
Okay.
His business is located about 500 yards from this property, and they're two separate tax parcels, and I believe his business is on a commercial
Okay.
property.
That clears it up for me. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is in my district
Yeah.
and that area, the only really business there is the Dorset Market. There's nothing there. There's a church and then there's all farmland and houses. I think this would be a better thing for that area at this time. And I think it'll sell like that once it goes to residential. So
Well,
I'm
and
all for it.
historical significance.
Yeah, no, I'm
I
all
think
for
that's
it.
a real plus for the county if someone, really restores it.
I agree with you. It'll look very nice.
And
when it's
possibly
renovated.
if someone restores it, buys it, and restores it, I think some of the tax revenue evaluation probably would go up. But I don't
hard to
think we
agree
can
with that.
concern ourselves with that because we're more about the land use.
I was just confused.
No,
on
I
what-
agree. Yeah.
Who owned what? I'm sorry, it was the email differences that kind of threw me.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion? Maybe since it's in District 2?
I make a motion to accept the zoning change for this piece of property.
I'll second that motion.
We need a roll call vote.
Ms. Kingery,
Aye.
Mr. Hall, Ms. Pendergast,
Aye.
Dr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Hurt.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Boy, I wish they all could be this easy. I know, this is great. Okay, our third public hearing tonight is the long-range comp plan adjustments and auditing and tweaking that we've been working on. I'll let Mr. Pompey introduce, and then we can discuss.
Yeah, for the benefit of the background, or the crowd, I'll go through a little bit of background information on what the Planning Commission's been working on. So the current comprehensive plan was adopted in June of 2019 after about 3 years of work by the previous Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors. The comprehensive plan establishes a vision of what Powhatan County should look like in the next 20 to 30 years. It identifies objectives and strategies that can be implemented to realize the community's vision. It focuses on a variety of topics, but one of the main purposes and uses of the plan that the Planning Commission uses the plan for is when reviewing land use cases to see if rezonings, conditional use permits, any discretionary land use decisions are aligned with the vision of that document. It's an advisory document. It's not a law, but it provides recommendations, again, on how the county will grow and develop. And every locality in Virginia must have a comprehensive plan. So again, our current comprehensive plan was adopted in June of 2019. At its workshop in August of 2020, the Board of Supervisors expressed interest in updating the 2019 long-range comprehensive plan. To begin this process, you all held some joint workshops with the Board of Supervisors in September and October. And the Planning Commission was mainly charged with reviewing the countywide future land use plan, as well as looking at some of the transportation-related recommendations within the document. So it wasn't a full rewrite. Again, you all were looking at what future land use would look like throughout the county. So we held a series of workshops after the joint workshops. Again, we held 2 joint workshops with the Board of Supervisors, and then there were 6 workshops with just the Planning Commission where the comprehensive plan was discussed. And so you all, as the Planning Commission, are charged with making a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. So that's what's scheduled for tonight. You hold a public hearing to garner additional feedback from citizens and stakeholders, and then you all may choose to recommend approval of the document as presented, approval of the document with any changes you all discussed tonight, or you can defer a decision so there can be additional workshops and discussions on the draft document. Again, most of the changes focused on land use, particularly within the Route 60 East corridor and the Courthouse Village. Most of the other areas remain the same except for one goal of this project was to simplify the different land use designations. So we did combine rural residential and rural preservation into this rural areas designation. And there were also some other updates to the descriptions for the different land use designations. I think, one thing that you all worked a lot on was to help ensure that any residential development we do have has a unique character, such as agri-hoods or those types of concepts that reflect the rural character of the county. So at the last workshop, we reviewed public comments received during the first round of solicitation. And I included any comments I received since then. We've had some Facebook posts on the county website and of course the advertisement in the public hearing. Only one comment is included in the packet that was received since the previous planning commission meeting. And I also forwarded a comment that we received this afternoon from Elaine and Mike Hall on Page Road. They had submitted comments previously and they just submitted some additional comments concerning commercial development on the Page Road corridor. So again, we'll have the public hearing
Right.
tonight and then we can have more discussion after that.
Perfect. So I'll open it for a public hearing for anyone present this evening. Anyone?
Good evening. David Anderson, 2366 Bellcrest Circle in Powhatan. First of all, I'd just like to say that I appreciate all the due diligence you put into the comprehensive plan. I think the Board of Supervisors gave you a large and relatively ill-defined task, and y'all all taken on the challenge and almost brought it to fruition here. So I appreciate that. I have one suggestion for you tonight, and it relates to the retail node or commercial node concept. When I read the plan, a retail node is clearly defined by a map. And I think the problem with a map is once you draw a line on the map, you're either inside the map or you're outside of the map. And I don't feel like we ought to box ourselves in to that concrete of a concept. So if you think about a line on a map, if you're 1 inch to the west, say, you're in the node. If you're 1 inch to the east, you're outside of the node. And I don't know why we'd want to restrict ourselves to that. So my suggestion would be, is there a way to make the language more flexible and the map more permeable so that if a commercial development came along and wanted to do something, say, at an adjoining parcel right next to an approved retail node, it would give you and the Board of Supervisors the ability to bring that, say, adjoining parcel into the existing commercial node. If that existing parcel wanted to come in, say, an access point beside them, right? Don't even have to come onto 60, then they come around the existing retail node and come out a stoplight. That seems like a great thing to me. It brings more commercial development. The access management's perfect. It would tie into the same architecture. I think most people would say that's a good idea. Once again, if you look at how it's defined today in the draft plan, it would not allow for that particular potential development to occur. And I just don't see why we'd want to take flexibility off the table and make things so rigid, particularly when we're all trying to encourage first-class commercial development. Thank you for your time and thank you for your consideration.
Are there any other present tonight? And if not, do we have any remote? We'll close the public comment period and open it for our discussion on the comp plan. I'll let you guys go, then I've got a couple things. We'll start down at Barbara.
Mr. Anderson's concern, we actually discussed that.
We did.
And we came up with the point that we wanted to group things. But as seen tonight, we are open to changing for the right project. And that's why people come for use permits and we make changes. So it's a guideline, but it's not hard and fast because we do approve things that are not closely attached, or they should closely attached, but would enhance the area
With a conditional use
with a
permit.
conditional use permit. So that, am I the only one who remembers this discussion?
No, no, no.
Good.
So how, I mean, so how restrictive, I mean, the comprehensive plan is just guidance. It's not a definitive restrictive. Our language is, we did define it well because we wanted to prevent confusion, but
I think how literal the interpretation is really up to the planning commission and the board of supervisors. I think in general, in the past, the board of supervisors and the planning commission have taken a very literal interpretation of the comprehensive plan here in Powhatan. In other places, it is more of an advisory document, like Dr. Brown was saying. If there's something that hits many of the check boxes in the plan, but it's not 100% fit, it's still approved. It can still be recommended for approval by you all if it's an exceptional project that really fits the vision for the area and is an enhancement and compatible with surrounding uses. So I think how literal of an interpretation the county as a whole makes is up to the planning commission and the board of supervisors. But I think Dr. Brown is right. It's an advisory document. If there is a project that doesn't fit 100% in the recommendations for the plan, it's still an acceptable project if it meets you all's vision and again is compatible with other uses.
Michael
and that kind of thing.
Potter's
Yeah,
project didn't fit. The one we just did with the residential didn't
exactly.
fit. I mean,
And obviously, you guys know, I was the one dissenting person. I'm not crazy about the nodes for all the reasons Mr. Anderson just outlined. But I recognize, as we know, that with each project, we look at it and there will be some flexibility in our recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for what's the best interest, of the residents of the county. So,
I stand by it conceptually.
right.
I like the point that was made that if the entranceway didn't entrance into 60 and it continued, that yes, there would be exceptions there that.
Well, that would be a great
Right.
safety
So
improvement.
I still stand by that. I do think it represents more of our thought process of what we want for Powhatan because we didn't want that strip development. And I think that that's still important. And I'm still comfortable with the language and
Okay.
the feasibility that we have.
I don't think it's a hard, fast line defining that it's 500 feet on the right side of 60 and 100 feet to the left side of 60 and 300 feet to the intersection of Dorset Road to the right, that way. It's just the way I'm taking it, it's a general area. Yes, if you zoom in on the map, you will see that, okay, it goes to this street. But in my mind, if the development is being on the outside of it, it still falls into that node that as far as an architectural appearance.
And the setbacks.
Setbacks that we would try to use the same thing. So it's just like you get the quarry in South Creek. It's really not that far between those two areas. So there's going to be some gray lines, areas in there, but that is, I could see those two almost blowing up and converging on each other as development grows over the years.
I'm fine with it, except that, is there a way to ease minds that that line isn't that line, that it's that area or that stoplight area? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it, but I think we wrote as much as we can. Kind of up to the board
And
now.
it's kind of a little dotted line. too.
Yeah, maybe that, a dotted line. Yeah, there you go.
Dash.
it says in the front that this is advisory.
Right. So it's not like,
It's not,
any further discussion on the node issue? Shall we move on to some other points? Well, I have two that have been brought to my attention. First off, it was brought to my attention by members of the Board of Supervisor, won't tell names, that within the 10 land uses, we have a zoning, appropriate zoning. And we know that once the land uses are adopted, that some of that zoning's got to change. So right now, when it's in the preliminary adoption evaluation stage, should we leave that zoning blank with saying something like to be determined once the 10 land uses are adopted? Because, you know, it was brought to my attention that with some of the new land uses, that the zoning doesn't match up exactly right, and that we might be giving the wrong, you know.
Are you
not-
talking about the ordinances?
Yes, when you look in the land uses, under each section, they have, let me give an example for you. Yeah,
Like
it's fine.
on page
Give me a page.
97, for example,
On which one, 97?
it says within economic opportunity,
Yeah.
the appropriate zoning districts are Village Center Plan Development, Commerce Center Plan Development, Light Industrial. And I think one thing that Ms. Hurt has heard is like, well, if we go through and rewrite the zoning ordinance after we rewrite the comprehensive plan, these will be obsolete. So do you all want to just take it completely out or say appropriate zoning districts, for example, are ones that accommodate mixed-use development, or that's your question, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was just brought to my attention that, you know, some are fine, but some of them will need to be, once the 10 land use designations are adopted, the zoning is going to have to be reevaluated. So they didn't want it to be out for the public to see. I guess that the Board of Supervisors will be the next public hearing. So I mean, I just am bringing it to your attention because it was brought to my attention. But it's our decision on how you want to leave it. If you want to leave it like this, or,
Perhaps we send it to the board for review. Well, we fix the
well, you
zoning,
don't
'cause
really
if
want
they
to
don't-
do the
if they don't
zoning.
approve it, we're not going to change the zoning.
Well, but, well, exactly. but-
So we
so I
can't really
mean,
change the zoning before it's,
I guess we need to make note, I guess you don't do your zoning until after you've adopted your land uses. So what do you
Yeah,
think,
so
Andrew? You're the expert
I'm,
in the
I'm
room.
okay either way. This is how I would use it in my office. I'd say, okay, this property is zone commerce center, is designated gateway business on the comprehensive plan. If you want to rezone that property from A10 to a zoning district that aligns with the gateway business designation, you would choose Commerce Center Plan Development, Light Industrial. So it gives direction towards what zoning districts align with that land use designation. And those are the zoning districts we have right now. So it's the tools we have right now to implement the vision of the comprehensive plan. Some localities list zoning districts that align with the land use designation and some don't. So, I mean, I can interpret and tell the person what
What it
zoning
means,
districts make
yes.
sense, but
Well, I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it was brought to my attention for your discussion and thought process on it.
But is it not sort of what we just did just a few minutes ago with the office? No.
Yeah, but some of these ordinances will change once the land use is adopted,
yeah, so
correct?
the board has indicated they want to rewrite the zoning ordinance after the comprehensive plan is updated.
I think
So,
we get to do that, right?
yeah, you all will be charged with that. Yeah.
They were just concerned that the public would see the land uses with incorrect zoning ordinances suggested with the land use. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, let me see if I understand where we're
Okay.
going with this. And it's only because I like things in order.
Me too. I like it.
Um,
Flow chart.
So what are they looking for a comprehensive plan attached to it, a list of all the ordinances that would change if the comprehensive plan was accepted? If that is the case, we each need to take a chapter and go through the ordinances and see what doesn't fit.
What was pointed out to me to allow them to agree on the 10 land uses and say, yes, we like these 10 land uses. And then,
Bring it back.
guys, here you go, you get it back. Evaluate the ordinances.
That makes more sense
That's
to
what
me.
they're suggesting. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. So they're saying it's misleading to the public by having it's like we redid the ordinances already by having this, you see what I'm saying, by having this out for a public hearing. So
it-
should we maybe leave what we have, I don't know, just denote somehow that these are subject to change?
Or
We can leave what we have and write subject to change with
Pending final review.
pending final review or, yeah, what do you think, Barbara?
there's two issues that I see. One is what the supervisors have suggested, and then not
It's
to,
not all of them.
yeah,
so-
and not to confuse the public.
Right.
So if there could there not be a statement? If the Board of Supervisors adopts this advisory document, then the Planning Commission will review the ordinances and identify those ordinances that are in conflict with the current zoning designations.
So we kind of have that in there. It's in the back. We say within the next year, whatever, if the plan's adopted, we'll review our zoning ordinances, review our subdivision ordinances to see what provisions law doesn't align with the recommendations in the comp plan. So it's kind of already in there. It's not as
Where is
blatant.
that at, Andrew?
Page 159.
I guess they were just concerned, the general public looking at the comp plan. may
And I mean,
not see that.
and one comment, for me as a staff member, I don't have a preference either way.
I have,
Many places it takes several years to rewrite a zoning ordinance, so if
Yeah.
we adopt the plan this year, I mean, it's gonna be, those are gonna be the zoning districts that the developer or landowner will go to for the next year or two.
Mhm.
all right, then on page 159 is pretty far back into the document for somebody who's looking to find that out. I'm assuming we have an executive summary.
There is
And-
a good how about a footnote referring everybody to this page at each of the zoning
In the
things?
executive summary,
Yeah, but do you think they're gonna read the executive summary? I'm saying at each
Well, it-
land use where you have the zoning, if you make a footnote saying refer to page 159, is that allowed? Andrew?
Yeah, I think we could have a footnote that says, yeah, based on guidance on page 59, chapter
Yeah, and that way they,
whatever.
they could go to that and read, oh, okay, this may not be set in concrete. This may be subject to reevaluation.
Yeah, if the zoning ordinance is revised, the applicable zoning districts might change. I mean, I think ideally, we would adopt the comprehensive plan, rewrite the zoning ordinance, and then we could do a comp plan amendment to
To,
clean that
to
up if we
update
needed
the
to.
appropriate land.
Yeah,
How did we handle this in the past?
the 2019 plan is actually the first plan that we listed the appropriate zoning districts. In the previous plans, it just said,
Said whatever.
yeah, it
Okay.
didn't specify.
along Vicky's idea, the last part of the introduction is how to use the plan. I think we could put a
Perfect.
comment
What
in
page
there,
is that on, Barbara?
5,
5.
which they might read to page 5, but they may not read the whole.
I haven't read page 5.
thing.
I just kinda flip through it.
It's human nature, I'm thinking here.
I'm going to the meat of the stuff. Oh, yeah, I like that.
So on page 5, add something that says
Yeah.
the
With that.
recommended zoning districts and some of the references to our development-related ordinances may change as the zoning and subdivision ordinances are reviewed and updated. or
After the
something.
land uses are adopted.
Yeah, yeah.
Something to that effect. Y'all ready to do that big job?
Of course.
Okay, I think that would be really good, Andrew.
Okay. And I guess, just as reference, on page 53 of the staff report, I listed
Yes.
some of the localities that adopted a comprehensive plan
Right.
and then went through and reviewed their zoning ordinance.
Fairfax was 10 years.
Yeah, they took a long time. I think they just adopted theirs last month.
God, with this, we're very efficient. Did we get a bonus for doing this? I think we did. We got our bunny from Barbara tonight. Okay, the other thing I have on page 132, if you would look at that, this was also brought to my attention, and see how you guys feel comfortable handling this. This is the land use map for the Courthouse Village Special Area. And it was brought to my attention that the public land is not noted on this map, okay? And you can look at it two ways. Andrew and I talked about this, that within help me out. Look, I can't see the colors very clearly. It's
So,
within the,
so for example, Fighting Creek Park is
yes. it's in
shown as
the-
corridor mixed use because
Yes.
parks and public facilities are recommended uses within corridor mixed use. So in an effort to streamline it, we combine public because it's allowed within that area.
And that was just brought to my attention that they were concerned that a developer would look at this land use map and not realize that there was public use there.
I think that's a good,
So
So should-
Allison put together a map real quick that would
Ah.
show if we, in the 2019 plan, the current comprehensive plan, we, call out Fighting Creek Park and the schools as public land. So
Well, we did call out the school as public land back on for the 60.
yeah, I can try to, I
But
can,
we didn't do it consistently here.
I can show you I'll share my screen so you can see what that looks like. So you can see that.
That's the old map.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the new. Unfortunately, it doesn't let me control
It
anything
won't
else.
let you blow it up.
This is the new map
Hmm.
with the public lands overlaid as blue.
okay, because this is what we have in our.
Yeah.
copy.
Yeah, so it's that map, but instead of Fighting Creek Park being orange, it's blue.
So all the public lands are in the blue.
Yeah, so that's what it would look like, and
That
it
should
would,
be the blue.
it changes the acreages for,
Mhm.
you can see the orange is a lot, the corridor mixed use is a lot smaller when you
Yeah.
take out the public. So it really doesn't have a practical on the ground change because all those properties are public anyway, but in terms of visualizing on a map, you can kind of see a little better what's going on.
So Amy, what do you think? How do you feel about this?
If the board wants the public to show, make the public show. I mean, it doesn't matter to me either
Bobby,
way.
what
but-
do you think?
Same, yeah.
I mean, they'll probably
yeah.
tell us to put it there anyway after we send it to
And we
them.
listed in the legend.
I know.
and
So we
I-
might as well go.
Consistency.
Can we do that, Andrew, without being a big problem?
Yeah, I
Since
think
that
y'all
change-
can
Can
do
we
that.
vote on that?
I mean, especially since we did it to the high school anyway.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. Once it was pointed out to me, I went, ooh.
And it only affects county-owned lands. It's not
Right,
like it
it's not like
affects
federal or
property
state or
owner.
something. Do we need to take a vote on those two changes, or, Mr.
Ha-
Latchley, do we
ha-
need, we do need to do that?
Hey, do you
Okay.
want to make it part of a recommendation, or should we just do it separately and then make a recommendation?
We need to change. Oh, just vote one,
The plan is
one,
amended.
just one. Okay, individually. Okay. Any other changes, folks? All right, so our first change was to add, you want to restate that for me, Andrew, denoting about the zoning, suggested zoning.
Yeah, so on page 5, we'll add some language, and I'll listen back to the tape, but some language that states that the recommended zoning districts and some of the references to zoning and subdivision standards may change as those development-related ordinances are amended in the future to reflect recommendations made in the updated comprehensive plan.
Do I have a motion for that?
Motion to accept that.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the second change would be on our Courthouse Village land use map to denote public property in the blue that is shown in the legend. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion to change the map to that.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Are we, any other?
I have one.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. It always makes me feel good when you read through this.
and this is more of a word usage. We talk in here that there was a series of meetings. There were a series of workshops. But with the Board of Supervisors, there were 2 workshops, which do not denote a series. A series is 3 or more.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if we could note that it was 2 meetings with the Board of Supervisors and then a series of meetings with
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
In the staff report.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
And off to the side, I thought the staff report was a really good executive summary and our thought process for how we changed the comprehensive plan. I did read that closely. And I thought Andrew and staff did a really good job on that, and thank you. That executive summary was very well done. Anyone else with anything on the comp plan? Okay, so do I have a motion to send this on to the Board of Supervisors?
Don't we need a motion for all the changes?
Did we do the 2
Did those.
changes?
We did the 2 changes.
We
So-
did them individually.
So I think you'd make if you wanted to forward on, you would make a recommendation of approval with the plan as amended.
Right, that's what yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
I
Amy,
make a
can you say
motion
it?
to do the changes as well as changing the wording under the series and then pass it on to the Board of Supervisors for review.
Second.
I think we have to have a roll call vote.
So Ms. Kingery,
Aye.
Mr. Hall. Ms. Pendergast,
Aye.
Dr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Hurt.
Aye,
So the motion passes 5-0.
5-0. Guys, thank you. That was an awesome job on this. Y'all think we did this in record time. We are super efficient. And I hope the Board of Supervisors will,
They're going to tell us to go through all the
they're gonna make us do it all over again. Oh, no. All right, well, tonight we do not have any new business, but we do have a quick workshop this evening. Page 71 in our packet, kind of a recap of our first year because we were all newbies. With exception, Amy had a little bit of time ahead of us. Andrew, would you like to run this aspect of the workshop?
Yeah, sure. I think, it's been a different year than other years with the pandemic and everything. So y'all haven't really had a chance to kind of recap and regroup and talk collectively about what things you learned over the past year, what things you want to learn more about, maybe some things that you'd like staff to do research on. So this is really just a time for you all to kind of share. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and anything you want to share with your colleagues, it's really about that.
We'll start with Amy. Turn your mic
Well,
on.
obviously I've learned a great deal about Powhatan and what's going on here and what's coming up and staff and how this all works. I've gotten more comfortable with saying it. I do want you guys to work on a solar farm ordinance. I think it's gone very well, actually, considering Zoom meetings and COVID and all that stuff. I mean, I think we still muscled through, so I'm good.
You're next.
I was really impressed by the whole commission, how well we work together, going through the difficulties that we have this year with COVID. Most impressed of all by staff. I cannot say how many kudos I want to give to staff, especially with the comprehensive plan. Is a professional job has come across here. And I hope when it's passed on, they see the same thing that we see. So I just want to thank you for that, and congratulations again, Andrew.
Thank you.
And I don't know how you do it.
Jane?
I say the same thing. Thank you, Andrew, for all the answering, and your staff for answering all the questions we've had, as we're all really new at this, and you've got a whole group of new people sitting up here. I think that we have done well at coordinating and cooperating as a team. And the only request I had was to get some additional information on the housing, our available lots and things like that, because I still think with the comment in here that there's still issues to look at with the housing stuff that people are concerned about.
Well, it's nice going last because everyone has
Well, I haven't
said.
gone yet.
Oh, excuse me. I was counting
You're
here.
next to last.
Okay, it's nice to go next to last because I would ditto everything that said. Andrew, your staff, you and your staff have been wonderful. Tom, you've been so helpful when we've had questions about what is the right procedure for doing this. We were all new. And at the end of it, what we have to show is a comprehensive plan, which was not easy. It was our first looking at this and then looking at the different projects. Luckily, we had various ones. I think we need to look at the two things that have been mentioned. Solar farms or projects is probably a better way. See, what is it that we can do to make it more clear as to what would pass and what wouldn't? Cypress Creek left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think anybody enjoyed that process. And I like now that when there is commercial land and somebody wants to put residential with it, that we are unanimous in the commercial needs to be done first. So those were two things, but it took a year to get there. But I have enjoyed it. We really haven't had a chance to get to know each other, but we work well together. I appreciate the different backgrounds and the different perspectives. And again, staff have been wonderful. So thank you.
Well, I really appreciate how well we work as a cohesive team and coming to agreements, even though we're not going to all agree on everything all the time, but I think we respect each other and we listen to each other and take it under advisement and reevaluate maybe where we're coming from. Totally agree about the solar farms. And as y'all know, I've called a lot of planning departments because I really feel like we really need to have that really clear cut because that is a wave that's coming. We've seen a few little waves come in, but I think there's some really big waves of that coming our way. I like how we are creative and we try to evaluate projects and think outside the box. And I'm with you. I want to know more about the housing availability and information on that so we can get a better handle on that. I appreciate how we, the strategic plan that the Board of Supervisors has put together. I think we've all done a really good job at reading that and trying to carry that out through our recommendations for land use. I'm really proud of that we've worked hard on that. And I really appreciate all the hard work and effort you put in because we don't get paid a lot for doing this. So I do appreciate that a great deal. And staff is out of this world. Andrew, I feel like I bug him to death. This is the first, like, once I heard about the baby, I didn't call him or anything. I was like, I'm not gonna bother him. Then when he called me today, I was like shocked. I'm like, yeah, this is wonderful. But Andrew, is there anything else, any training or any summer reading you think we should do when we're in all our free time?
You're sounding like a teacher
No,
now.
I guess everyone's taken the class.
Yes.
I guess it wasn't necessarily the normal format for everyone.
No.
I think you and Bobby started.
They got
normal.
part of the normal
Yeah.
format.
First
I had to
session.
do Zoom.
It would be really nice at VCU if once this COVID thing was over, if they could have like a seminar day or something that they could invite, but I don't know, we have any say in that,
Yeah.
but invite us to come back and see some face-to-face land planners, professors, whatever, maybe for real, but
Yeah, I know, speaking of that, our county administrator's been talking to one of the people that has been involved in the program. Actually, I think lives in Powhatan. I think he lives in Founder's Bridge or over near you.
oh, really?
So
Okay.
he might come and do something for you all on the
Oh,
board.
that would be
maybe.
really
So we're
nice.
talking about that. hopefully the links to the articles I send aren't too much, but
No, they're,
It's
No, I
great.
think it's
always
I
interesting to
read all
see.
of them. I print, I even, the teacher, I print them out and I have them in a binder, because that's what teachers do.
yeah, I feel like, when I see those articles, sometimes they're saying the exact same thing we're saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have a different approach to the same issue, so.
Well,
I-
but you want to see all sides of the issue.
Yeah, so I think those are one way that I think you all are getting, some education. But I think, we can see if there's something that you all can do, since we got shortchanged in terms of the online classes versus in person. But I guess I did heard, y'all still were able to talk to planning commission members from other localities.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had
Yeah, we
breakout
did,
sessions
but
and-
some of them were from larger metropolitan areas, so I don't know how. I really wish we could have talked more to people for us that had the similar demographics that we have to kind of get.
That was,
Yeah.
what was good with Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
How we went to
Yeah, I
Harrisonburg,
wish
'cause
I
we
had gone with you guys, but
And even
I
some
couldn't.
a lot smaller than us.
Yeah.
yeah, but that, I wish that would have been really nice, because we kind of had Northern Virginia people. We're so different than Northern
Sort of
Virginia.
split up, and it was really the smaller counties and then the larger counties.
So we
And
didn't get to really do that.
And I'd like to say something else. I want to thank the public too. We have, I think during this COVID time, we've still had a good bit of participation in the public. I'm a little disappointed, and I think we noted this at the participation and the feedback for the comprehensive plan. I hope that the public feels that we took the comments that we got seriously and into consideration as we had the conversations. And you addressed many of those questions for us, but I think we should also keep our minds and thoughts open on how we get and continue to get people in the public to interject into our process and into giving us feedback, because I think it's really important and we all take that into serious consideration.
And I honestly been really concerned with that, and I've spoken with several supervisors. I don't want to throw Powhatan Today under the bus, but not everybody gets Powhatan Today, and I was getting it, and now I haven't gotten it for over 3 weeks. But,
I haven't gotten it in 8 months.
okay. So I was trying to think of a way to have some sort of message board, but I kind of got like, they thought I was crazy, but so that people would know, so that they would want to go to a website and look it up. I
I
just think,
always tell people on my Facebook, but
I
it's just
do-
the
I
people I know, and
know.
I see you guys, you gotta tell me. I don't know
yeah,
if
you
you're gonna
got
tell
to
me.
read
Yeah.
this and look.
One of the things that has come up when we've done rezonings is that people complain that they don't get notified.
Yes.
And the last one, it struck me that people came forward when we were looking at the Potter and Smith project. And they didn't have concerns about the project. What they were concerned about is they weren't notified. So maybe that's one of the ordinances we need to address and change it from immediate neighbors
Property.
to
District or something? I don't know, so big.
Radius of miles. or
a
something.
radius of a certain amount. And maybe that would remove that concern, because we heard it more than once. I didn't get notified. I didn't get notified. And at one point, Vicky was saying, could we get larger signs
Yeah.
against the side of the road that say rezoning proposed? Just, I don't know,
Because
just a couple
especially on
thoughts.
60, those little signs, you go zooming by and they're,
Yeah, so I guess on those two things, actually, the public notification ordinance is something that Alice and I were actually talking about on the way over here. It's something that we would like to add to y'all's list to look at, since it has
sure,
come
put it
up.
on there.
And as a staff member, I want to do whatever the ordinance says. I can't be arbitrary and say we're to send it to someone half a mile away for one case,
And
but
2 for
200
the other,
feet the other
yeah.
case. And for the past 2 years, I've asked for money for new signs, and it's in the budget and it's still in there, I think. So hopefully July 1, we can get some,
Bigger signs.
bigger signs, or at least more colorful ones.
Yeah, because Chesterfield has those dark blue ones, and they really, the dark blue with the white, maybe it's black,
Yeah.
letter, but I know when I drive by them, they pop out. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, Chesterfield has a bunch of different colors for different cases.
Yeah.
And Orange County, where Tom also represents, they have some very robust signs that are colorful and big and sturdier than ours, because ours get shot at sometimes. and stuff like that.
imagine that. I can't even.
I did notice that one of the signs was down on one of the properties that I went to look at in this, that
Oh,
it
like
was
it fell
laying on the
down?
ground
Oh,
Oh, it
too.
was
And I just,
windy, I guess,
yeah,
blew it over.
Yeah, those
So-
are not as,
stable too. So
yeah,
Well, I just think,
if it was, and I happen to know where that property was, but if somebody didn't, it would have been harder for them to find it with the sign down.
yeah, because we had the address. I didn't even notice sign was missing. But I do think it's so important to encourage people to be involved. I mean, hopefully people will be involved in all aspects of Powhatan County, Planning Commission, Board of Supervisors, and the schools. I mean, we can only make it a better community if we all step up and say. Any other thoughts tonight, other than congratulations, Andrew?
Little walk.
Well, with that, I will adjourn our meeting. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. And thank you so much and happy spring to everyone.
Shh, don't do that to my berries. I need a good gummy crop this year.
Yeah, I put